Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Christelle Martinet, and I'm here with a scrying session. I've been latitante, they say. I've been at large. Okay, I've had a very tough last year, up until July 2016, and so let's say that I'm coming out of that, and to be able to scry is quite different from reading the cards. So, and I just noticed, you could see up here actually, there's a mirror at the end of that room of this studio, and that's me there. It's reflecting this computer screen. It's the 25th of July, and I'm warming up. I'm warming my hands. I have my my obsidian, which is one of my favorite stones, with me, and the labradorite, which I'll start with actually. The labradorite, 25th of. This is an exceptionally heavy stone to carry, but here you go. I have the impression that there's time around us, you know, these days, the 25th, 26th, even 24th, 23rd, the moon cycle, and after the post-moon cycle, I have the impression that, you know, we're sort of floating, and it's not always an even keel floating. It's not always an easy ride, and but it is on the same plane, in the sense that it's not that it's rough waters, but it is always on an even keel, but it's not easy in the sense that what we're feeling, what I am sensing now is that the consciousness, the process, the actual consciousness that is with us, that is us, this period, is very turbulent. Turbulent, it doesn't have high peaks and low. It's turbulent because there will be a scosse in Italian. There will be this like shocking moments that you get moved. You know, let me give you an example. I was having a massage 2 days ago, and after a very, very difficult, it was very tough period, I thought, let me shake this, and I went to go have a massage. And when I was getting the massage, very, very deep under my armpit, the masseuse said to me, "Look, you have to have this taken a look at. You have to have this seen, because I'm finding a hard, round, you know, a sphere." And so, of course, you know, didn't sleep that night, woke up, ran to the hospital, you know, and of course it was a false alarm. Well, of course, no, nothing is of course, but, you know, that really gave me a scare, you know. And so things like that, things that will shock you out of your still mode, but that will end up being just a little movement, you know, just to bring you out of your sense of warmth under the covers and hiding. It'll bring you up to the surface again. And this is what I'm seeing here for these days. And so that will be a challenge. You know, these would be little trials. This will be a challenge for us. Let's see. And there's nothing dark about the period at all. You know, there's nothing dark about the period. If it's just part of life's curveballs that it sends us. It sends us ways of bringing us, you know, out of certain states that we are in, or that we get stuck in. And what is interesting for me is how these stones call me. How these gems just call out, "It's my turn, it's my turn." This is crystal quartz. they're asking for friends. You know how when you have children and the children say, "I want a brother, mommy. I want." Well, it's as if they're saying, you know, time to widen the family. Let's get some different stones here. That's what I'm hearing. So that means I have to come back more in this channel. Those moments when there's how can I say, when it's not silence, because there's never a moment of complete silence. You know, as I don't know if you can hear it, but in this room behind me, there's a clock, and I can hear it tick, 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 tick. You know, and or there's in the far distance a child screaming, but you wouldn't hear that. In this moment of apparent silence, when we are not in a meditative state. Okay, I want to make that clear. I'm not a supporter of meditative states, because, well, for myself, I'm talking about for myself, because I channel, of course, and I go in and out of the Akashic records every single day and get my information. And so I'm on a level that is, if I have to meditate, it serves me little or no purpose, because I'm in a state where I gather information at will if I want to know something. Of course, granted, there are things we are not meant to know, and when I find that out, I just turn on my heels and walk away. Now, I was saying, in this silence, there is constant vibration, and that is so resounding. It is when you think nothing is happening, you can absolutely be sure that there is a vibration, a vibrational state, and the vibrations that you pick up on, what you hear or what you feel, are very similar to what you are thinking, feeling, hearing. And in this period right now, you know, because this session seems to talk about the time and what is happening, what I'm feeling, but at the same time, messages are coming in that seem to guide us in our practice. This is what it seems. And so when you feel you're in silence, what you are picking up, and for those of you who do meditate and go into a state where you can listen and can cut off the other sounds around you, when you're there, you'll notice that what you do pick up is what is very similar to you. You know, so this goes in to answer many of the questions that I often get. But what are they doing? What are they thinking? Do they think of me? Do they, you know, you ask yourself, what is that person doing or feeling or thinking, you know? And in this expresses doubt. And of course that doubt is communicated, and doubt begets doubt, you see. What is interesting here in this time frame is how I'm seeing the dissipation of doubt. I'm seeing dissipation of that slight leftover fear that sort of colored our days, and just lightening up. You know, for the failure of another word, lightening. We are starting to lighten up, lightening and becoming light. And of course, light begets light. And when you are light, you just don't attract negativity. You just can't. It's repelling. You know, this is, and if you know light workers, they will explain this to you. Light workers seem always to be, well, I've said it before, in a state of, you know, I have this stupid grin on my face all the time. But But there are times, I mean, we are all human, and there are times when, like I said, I just had a terrible year, a very difficult year. In one respect, a very difficult year in one aspect, but the rest, when you're walking in light, there are things that occur that bring you to remember your human state and this heavy, third dimensional state we live in. And but when you do surround yourself, and one practice is the surrounding of yourself with crystals, because it really reflects the light. And I'm very graced to have a huge window and a ledge where I can keep my crystals, and they're always bathed in light. And it's interesting how they affect us, how the energy of reflected life and what is given off from crystals affect us. And it's a healing process as well. This is they're wonderful healing. If you have any love for stones, crystals, or any interest, curiosity, do go into it. It's a mind-opening, beautiful experience of knowledge that flows in. I see children, happy children coming, walking, playing, and of all sizes, different scales of youths, smaller and larger. It's like a community of children that are growing together, and it's so lovely to see when someone says, well, if I don't know how to do it, I guess I'll just learn, and instead of falling into the fear, my goodness, what can I do? I'll just learn. This is what I desire. This is what I've chosen. I'm going to learn, and how lovely is this citrine? It's from the quartz family, of course, but there's something special about the citrine that is just such a, for me, because everyone, you have stones that will attract you, but the citrine for me is a stone that is a high vibrational stone, and it probably resonates with my state. The children, of course, are not flanked by adults. I don't see that. They are children in their own right, and even if they are not children, they seem to be children. So what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing a community of very, very young spirits, very, very young and curious, and I haven't called it a shift. I haven't said, we're amidst a shift, but what I'm explaining and what I'm describing actually seems to be a shift. It's something new, and that's usually a shift. Something young. I'm at loss for words, and I can only call it as being young. Something new, something clear, something crystal, something new. I'll say it again. But this something new seems to be, moving around in an area where uncharted. It's an uncharted area, and it is an area in the sense of uncharted. It hasn't been mapped. It's not trailblazing. It's ground where others have walked, but it's uncharted for the personal spirit. You have not gone there. And there are two roads that you can take. Of course, go read. You can read what others write about their road, and we all do read. But at one point, what happens is all too often that we get caught into the learning, where when it's time to experiment, everybody becomes afraid. And the experimentation phase is walking in that territory, uncharted territory, on your own, to see what the experience is like personally. And you can, of course, talk to others and ask, well, how was it for you? Well, for me, this is this, and this was that. But unless you walk there yourself, you'll never be able to experience it. And this is what I'm seeing. This is a moment where, rather than call it a shift, it's a moment when we take, in Italian we say courage in our, four hands, as if we had four hands. We take courage up and we walk the walk. And I'm seeing that it's a very propitious moment. If it's a very healthy, lucky, light-filled moment where we can walk into something new, some kind of new activity, some kind of new experience, some kind of a new context. It really is a new context. Wow, the citrine. Okay, this is crystal quartz as well. Of course, when we're doing this type, what I'm seeing is that many of us have a heaviness around them, having heavy shoes. It seems like you have heavy shoes instead of prancing through. Heavy shoes, heaviness characterizes us. And on the one hand, that amounts to being grounded. There's that heaviness that weighs us, and we are grounded. But rather than it being heavy and ground that way, which amounts to being stuck, what we would prefer is a groundedness that gives us energy to fly. This is a concept that dancers, those former or current ballerinas or classical dancers out there know, that when you dance, you get the energy from the pavement, from the floor, and the way you plant, and I'm calling it plant, so you can grow your feet on the ground, gives you the energy to do those, to keep that head high. And you take the energy from the ground, and that is what we're taking here. This is the thought, and to Argentine tango is the same. You take the energy from the ground and you raise yourself up, and that is what we are prancing through this period here, this moment here. It's uncharted territory, like I said, but there are points where you can get your strength, and it is precisely from the ground, from that floor. And sometimes it's true, many people feel that they're almost blinded by the light. They become blinded, and they just have to put on their glasses or just turn away. You become blinded. Excuse me, I'm yawning. But it's not so much. It's an initial impact, okay, and I'm talking from experience because I have felt that blinding light, and you're just not ready for it. You're not ready for all of that light, and it needs to be taken in doses, just like the exposure to certain particular stones and gems. The energy is so strong that it can give you, make you sick, or get a headache, or make you ill ill at ease, because the vibration is so strong. But then you take a rest and come back and take another walk through that uncharted territory, because it really is a different experience for us all. It's a place, being at a place that at the same time you feel you've been before, or that sensation can also be translated into a place that others have walked before you, and you feel their energy. And you actually feel, and sometimes when we are extra sensitive or perceptual, our perceptual energy is very high and refined, we take on varying different sides to the experience that other people have had. And that's just a matter of, just shifting and sliding, moving from experiences that you don't harbor, that you don't want, that you don't care for, that you don't like. Never stepping into the fear. There's no reason to fear. I mean, why fear when you don't know something? And what is interesting is that when you walk in uncharted territory, there is that element that that gives us a sensation, this tingling sensation. It's something that is new. The item of newness, the idea of newness. And when something is new, this is when you can go back to the idea of the children, all different children coming up. And if you can keep your mind there, you will have a different take on something that is new. This is a ferrous stone, very, 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 very shiny, very reflective, very heavy as well. And it's here to remind us that there is light in darkness. There is light in darkness. Darkness, of course, there are many people a reason in terms of contrasts. I'm light because you're dark. I can see white because the backdrop is black, or I'm happy because the person next to me is sad, or I know that I'm happy because I'm not frowning like the person I'm seeing in front of me. So you measure yourself in relation to others and things and experiences around you. This is a human trait. This is a natural observation that humans make. But many of us get stuck into this bipolar two ends of a spectrum only definition, which does not allow for many of the other shades of color and descriptions of what we're feeling. So when we experience something that we may think to be fear, what it is really is just curiosity with a little bit less courage. So if you take just like the magician, you get a cauldron, and the magician says, okay, let me put 2 bits of fear, and then put all the light around that fear, and then put the curiosity in there, or put in a couple of rose petals and sweeten it up with brown sugar, and put little drops of coffee because I think I want to stay awake, and whatever feeds your fantasy and your fancy. And that's what it is, what you desire to experience. And metaphorically, of course, you mix it up. And of course, you can do this pragmatically. You mix it up and actually can taste it or drink it or smell it, burn it and smell it, and keep smelling it, and it becomes you. And that curiosity is mixed in with the courage and the rose petals, and you have a different perspective on what you're experiencing. And this is extremely important, because we are, I think I've said it in one of my past readings, we are as good as our mind. We're as open as our mind allows us to be. We're as courageous as our mind allows us to be. Now, this is amethyst. Amethyst. I can hear the people listening to me. I can hear you listening to me saying, what did this person take? What is she on about? Let me go back and listen to that again. Did she actually say that? Must I actually get a cauldron and mix all of this stuff in it? That this strong comes up, the strong sensation that comes up is a sensation of novelty, new, children, the vibrant, and I'm not using that word by chance. It's a vibrant energy, high vibration. It's a vibrant energy, and there is joy. I'm seeing joy, and this is in this period of time, and I'm seeing it as being a week. This is the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. Today is Tuesday, right before the weekend. I'm seeing it as coloring the days that are around this 24, 25, 26, 28. So it's from the 25th to the 28th I'm seeing. And I'll be coming back. I have looked for a series of different crystals that I'm interested in, and I'll be bringing those in. The fluorite, a beautiful green fluorite I found. It's lovely, 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 is one of them. But I'll introduce them during my next scrying session. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope this was of help to you, and sorry for having been at large. I will be trying to come back as often as I can, with varying lengths of scrying sessions. It depends on what happens. And namaste, ladies and gentlemen, until I can see myself in that mirror down there. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen, until we see each other again and scry again. Happy scrying and happy days. Bye-bye.